John Mark told me to record it to the cloud. And I've never had the privilege of doing that before. And it makes me feel like I'm really important. Prestigious, I guess I should say, not important. It's the first time I've had a chance to do it. Okay, what I want to do is ask you, first of all, to stand up if you're able to, in comfort. And I want you to put your hands right about your nose. And then move your hands very, very slowly down your body. A good friend of mine showed me this. And you'll probably be able to feel the energies moving. And once they've come down to your lap, you can sit down again and then feel the energy going down slowly, down your legs, slowly down into your feet, and then down into the ground, deep into the roots in the ground. And then the opposite way, pull the energy up from the roots and let it slowly come up through your body, slowly up through the body, and then out the top of your head. So that in this way, you are both anchored above and anchored below. So now that we have done this, I want to take you on a journey. And I think at this point, I don't see how to turn people off. So can I ask you to please mute yourself?
How do you do that?
I appreciate that. Down in the left-hand corner, there's a little microphone that says mute. If you could mute yourself, please. Thank you. Now I'm going to take you on an imaginative journey and let you make of it what you want. And so if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, I'll take you on this journey. Imagine that you're walking down the street. This can be a street that you make up in your mind, or it can be a street that you know very well. And you walk for a while down that street. When you come to a large building, and there is a portal in that building. And at that portal is a candle. And I ask you to light that candle. And as you do so, it magically opens the portal door to you. And along with your guardian, whom you have brought with you, you walk across the threshold of that portal, and you find yourself in a theater, a large theater. You stand there for a while and you look around. It's a large theater with a lot of empty seats. And then to the front of the seats is a large, empty stage. You go down toward the stage and sit down in a seat wherever you like. And you sit there with your eyes closed for a while. And you let your imagination, you let your heart bring up something in mind that you'd like to find out more about. And when you have that firmly in your heart and mind, you stand up, go to the stairs up to the stage, you walk up to the stage floor and back into the center of the stage. And you ask in your heart and mind for whatever would be appropriate for you at this time to appear, to come, to present itself to you on this stage. And you begin to sense the strong propensity toward creativity on this stage. And you know there is something there special for you. And you think and feel in your heart that something magical, is in the air and is presenting itself. You open your heart and you can feel the joy. You can feel the joy of something coming in, very appropriate, just for you at just this moment. And everything else blocks out. The theater is gone, the seats are gone, and you are caught up in this magical moment, this very appropriate time when you are being presented with an important experience. Allow yourself a few minutes for this to sink in, for your heart and mind to receive it. And now, open your eyes enough so that you can move back to those stairs that led you up onto the stage. And go down those steps and again resume a seat in the theater. And enjoy the receiving, the allowing of this magical message you have been given. And if you wish, you may open your eyes now and return to your usual consciousness. And you can rise from your seat and walk up the aisle to the door where you came in. Your guardian is there to greet you. And you leave the door and move out into that world from which you came. Thankful, grateful, appreciative for what you have received. So mote it be. And as you open your eyes and return here to the screen, I would ask you, since we have spent so much time in the BBiP and on these Saturday night celebrations, talking about creativity and talking about our ability to bring about whatever we so desire. And so I brought you this technique, this way of being able to create when and if you so desire. And I would turn to you all now and I would say, is there anything that you received that you would want to share with us? Or that reminded you of something that you would like to share with us? Or that would make you more understanding of your propensity, your potentiality to create whatever you want. You can go up on that stage again anytime you want. Take your guard with you, light your candle, go up on that stage again. But for now, for this particular time and place, have you anything you want to share? Oh, I love your smiles. I just love them. Did you feel that you received something? Yes, Janet, you'll have to unmute yourself, dear.
Okay. For me, it was really interesting because it actually wasn't what I thought it would be, which is quite good because sometimes your mind can get in and think it's going to be something. And I've been really, really resisting for years. There's a community group that we have locally, and I am now on it, and I've resisted, and I don't want to do it. And then I ended up being secretary, and I've been not wanting to do it. And when I was on the stage, it was that it's about being very active in this community group for this community, which is something I would have done years ago. But for some reason, I've had a big resistance. But the energy of it was just so different. It just completely changed. It was really, really interesting. Yeah. So thank you.
Indeed. And did you receive it, Janet?
Yeah, I really felt it. It's like, okay.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else have something they want to share? I see eyes that tell me they want to share. And you can if you wish. No need.
I'll share mine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Kathy.
Hi. So when you said hold in your heart something that you want to know or want to receive or something like that, my thought was, I want to know why I keep choosing to experience some things in the same way over and over. And what appeared on the stage was kind of a soldier type looking guy in a uniform, and he's all limping and injured, and and so I just took that to be, you know, like we go through battles and we continue to go through battles. And so I took the opportunity to I've been reading in the Way of Mastery. This past week, I read a passage where you basically say, I forgive myself the judgments that I have had for you, my creation, basically, and thereby I release them. And then you embrace the creations. So I embrace the soldier and bless the soldier in the situation. So I just felt like there was a shift in energy there, and that this meditation is something that I could go back to again and find other things inside that I could embrace and bless. So thank you very much.
Indeed, Kathy. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? If your hearts are open to it, we would enjoy sharing it with you.
Hi. I had the desire to walk with Christ, and I saw myself as a young person holding Christ's hand. And I asked Christ, I said, Jesus, how can I be just like you? And he said, follow me, dear, and you are already like me. And my heart is so full and open because of that experience. So thank you so much, Sarah Jane.
Well, by sharing that with us, I'll tell you, when you said that, my whole heart filled up and the energy went down my body and it went shooting out the top of my head. Woo! Thank you so much, Barbie. Oh, got goosebumps all over my head for some reason. Thank you, thank you. Anyone else want to give us goosebumps? If you're not a person who is real visionary, who enjoys visualizing things, you could have received something in a different manner. You could have received it in feeling, in your ear, in your big toe. You could have received in the feelings in your body, or in the remembrance of something. So if any of you had an unusual sensation that you just discounted, it may have been something that will open up to you in meaning if you wish to share it with us. Did you want to speak, Jim? You'll have to unmute yourself, please. You need to unmute yourself, James. There you go. I'm still not able to hear you. Let me see if I can unmute you. Did you try clicking on the microphone that says mute? And does it have a red line across it? Now you should be unmuted now. No. I'm so sorry. Perhaps a little later. Did somebody else? I thought I saw someone else move out of the periphery of my eye. No? When I went up on the stage, I, of course, was a little concerned because I was having to direct the exercise as well as appreciate it and the exercise for myself. But I felt something feathery, like a veil. It seemed as though somebody were higher up than me on the stage and was wrapping this feathery veil around me. And as that was done, I felt very different. And in what way I was different, let me see if I can put it into words. It was warm and calming. And the veil then, after it warmed me and calmed me, it seemed to touch in with the rest of you in some way. Even though you were not present in the theater, it seemed to touch in with all of you in some way. So if you felt a feathery tickle, you'll know what it was all about. Hello to you, Carmen.
Hi.
You did not come in while we were doing the exercises, did you? You just came in now, Carmen?
Yes.
Okay, dear. We're talking about the effects people had from an exercise that we did where we, in our imagination, walked into a theater, then up the stairs onto the stage, and asked or felt about something that maybe had been maybe not bothering us so much as just being on our mind. And then we just waited to receive. And some of us have received and have shared what they received with us. So that's what we're going through, Carmen. James, can we hear you yet? We cannot hear you, James. Now, would you speak again? I'm so sorry. I don't want to put you on the spot, but Dion, you have looked like you wanted to speak. And if I'm putting words in your mouth, just shake your head no.
I didn't come in until after, so I didn't participate in the thing. I was thinking that I've got it on speaker view and I keep seeing this green telephone button, and I had just sent you a private chat saying I think maybe if you hit mute on that person, that will, I don't know if that's happening for everybody else, but maybe so what I see on my screen is just the green telephone. I don't see you because I've got it on speaker view.
When I tried this earlier, there was a place where I could go and mute everybody or unmute everybody. And for some reason, when I got on it later, I was not able to retrace my steps. And I think that's where you were directing me, dear. I'm sorry you missed the exercise because it's something that can be used later on.
I've already been thinking. I look forward to the video.
All right. Thank you. Okay. No pressure. Anybody? I hope you felt the tickle of the feather of the whoever is on the phone. Are you wanting to speak? All right. There was a yellow light around it, and I thought perhaps you were trying to speak. Okay. So thank you for those of you who shared, and I hope that you can use this exercise later for other things. I have, at one point in my life, I used this quite frequently, and I was absolutely amazed at how well that it worked effortlessly. I didn't have to try to force it to work. It just worked. Okay, now what I thought I would like to work on tonight as far as audience participation was John Mark's changes. And I was wondering how you take that word, how you take the word change and turn it into something meaningful. For instance, it, for me, would have several different meanings. But the first one that comes up for me is that, say, I'm standing here and I change position and now I'm standing over here. That's one way to think of change. Any other ideas? How about coupling the word change with creativity? John Mark's using that word constantly. Could you, for instance, walk up on the stage and ask for your creativity or the creativity of your guardian, your guide, to help you in your terrific creativity change something in your life? Your mind and heart open. You've walked up the steps, and the stage is a huge open space. And we've been working a lot with space. And in that open space, we can ask our creativity to produce, to provide, to transform something into another something. Allow it. Receive it. James. Can't hear you, hon. But I feel like you have something you want to share. Okay.
Sarah Jane, the changes in my life that I see and feel quite abundantly are changes from looking at challenges as opportunities, and then looking at those opportunities and seeing what am I learning from this? Why did I choose to have this challenge, now an opportunity? And revelations come, and it's a practice I do, and it is change. It's just like when I used to write everything, and then computers came into being in my not so young age, and they were a real challenge. And now I see the greatest opportunities that we're given, and accept that, wow, I can be on these webcasts with all these beautiful people, these loving people, and it just fills my heart with so much love. But that is a big change that has been going on in my life and still is happening. And I imagine will continue forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbie. When we come into the way of mastery, or even when we first realize that there's something new coming into our life. Might have been when we were 20, might have been much later. And then don't we start noticing, oh, yes, I did that differently. I'd always done it this way. One of the biggest things for me in the way of change, my mother was a very angry person. And so, of course, I became a very angry person. And when I first started into the spiritual work, that was one of the most, it was so gigantic. I found that something came up that I normally would get so mad at. I mean, a very simple thing to the rest of you, no doubt. But for me, it was a very anger-producing thing. And I noticed it didn't bother me as much. And 6 months down the road, it bothered me even less. Do you notice these kinds of changes as you progress? And do you have some samples that you could share? Hey, James, you moved. Can I hear you now? Sorry, I still can't hear you.
I for me, there was a massive change because I had anger, volcanic
Oh, yeah.
anger, and it was when I'd started studying, I suppose, Course in Miracles. I studied the path work, and then I read The Disappearance of the Universe, and I started doing forgiveness work. my husband left, and so I had abandonment, anger, and all that kind of stuff really, really strong. And one of my daughters, she was what at the time? Maybe 15, 16. Yeah, maybe 15. And we'd had a terrible relationship from she was 2, and this was going to go extremely badly because she was very angry about her dad leaving and us separating and all of that stuff. And so she was taking it out on me. And so I just kept doing this forgiveness work. But in my mind, and it could take me 2 weeks because I felt so justified that I was right. You know, as a mother, you're always right. And eventually that time shortened to, I did it in the moment one day, where normally something she would say, I would get angry and she would react back, and just nothing happened. And it absolutely changed everything in my life. Everything. I have relationships with my kids now I could have only dreamed of, which I would not have had. And I totally got that it was nothing about anybody outside of myself. She doesn't know what I did. So she didn't know I was doing anything. So it wasn't as if she was even part of this process. It was incredible. But I was also thinking about, like John Mark's last session was this really big thing that seemed to be going to happen, and it kind of, it could throw you, and because there was no reference to anything, what it was, and Virginia and myself watched Arrival today. I'd watched it the other night, and he starts off by one of the first comments he makes when kind of it's about aliens is that we don't, that we have no reference. There's obviously something big going to go on for them, but they have no reference of in the past of how to deal with that. And that felt like that for me with John Mark's kind of something big's going to happen, and so there's a change is going to come, but there's nothing that we're going to have to be able to cope with that. So in a way, I suppose things that I've had in my past where there has been massive change like that, there would have always been some reference that I could use or use it from. Whereas in a way, that seems to be that there's nothing. And I'm going to push you actually, just because Virginia had a big thing yesterday. You know, when you said like, I'm going to throw all my life out.
Yeah, everything that I knew just all seemed to just become unknown yesterday. You know, all my past, it was like I had no reference point anymore. I just felt like I'd gone into this, I don't know the meaning of anything. I mean, I know we've learned all the cliches and we've learned all the lessons and we've done all the things, but I really just got, I don't know anything yesterday. You know, I had no past, I had no reference, I had no expectations. I had just this, it was just like being wiped clean. It was just like a blank slate. I was like, oh my God, I just don't know anything. I had nothing, you know, and it was scary, you know. It was like, oh, I've got no reference, I've got nothing. And yeah, that's why I'm still here. So kind of 24 hours later, I don't know how to drive anymore. I don't know how to do anything. I just lost everything, you know. All my preconceptions, everything gone. You know?
So may I ask you a question, Virginia?
Yes.
Is that still with you today then? Is that what you were implying?
Yeah. It's like all my old conditioning has gone. I mean, I can see myself starting to bring up old judgments, or, you know, things will probably rear their heads again and things will come up. But it's like, all the things that I thought was important, the things that I thought that I knew, the things that I thought that I was, all those things just seemed to just disappear. We were doing a healing session, and that was the outcome.
But even despite that, and even with that, you are still guided. You know what to do. You know what your next step is, and so on. You're not floundering. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I floundered for a little while. It was a shaky period, but there's enough resilience there, or enough awareness, enough experience, enough age that I knew things. But it was what I believed that I knew is no longer important. It no longer relevant. Anything that I thought would happen, say at Christmas or whatever, I don't care if it happens anymore, or I've got no, and my life seemed to just change. That it didn't seem important anymore.
And so even with that, how do you feel about your stability, about your safety?
Safety, it's the trusting, the trusting of, it was scary, very scary, but I mean, I'm in a safe place. I know that, I just know it, but it was like family life, jobs, experience, all that sort of thing, just wasn't important anymore. It wasn't what I used to think was important. And I mean, I've learned it and I've done it and I've studied it and I've blah, blah, blah. But I really got it last night. I really had the first-hand experience, like everything just, I was saying to Janet, it was like we're down here and we have just this body experience that is going on now. And then we know about spirit, we know the other level, but it was like that I just went up a level, that I just that I could communicate more with spirit, or I could see things easier, and it didn't matter about the worldly things anymore.
May I ask a question?
Hmm?
Once you had the initial shock of it, if I can use that word, then how do you feel about your security?
I trust. It's just a trusting and a knowingness that everything is fine. It is scary when I sit and think about it, but it's but at that time it was just like having all my memories washed away, or all my past just it wasn't important anymore. It just wasn't, it was gone.
And so you are left with
Things that are just not important. I couldn't say who I am, where I'm from, those little cliches or memories, or things, how I identified myself. It's just not, I couldn't tell you my name. It just doesn't. It isn't important.
So is there anyone in the group that would like to make some comments to Virginia about what she's going through, or about what she has already experienced? Rivka, can I put you on the spot, dear?
I'm just absorbing in. I'm sorry. Your name is
Virginia.
Virginia. Yeah. I'm over here, Virginia. Um, yeah, it just seems to me that you're in a very new place. You've gone through a change. And this is a big change. This was a good response to Mariana's question. Yeah. And Mariana was asking you how you're feeling right now. How are you in your body? How does it feel to be in your body?
It's like a sort of wobbliness.
Yeah.
Sort of kind of, I couldn't get up and run a marathon. I kind of could barely walk. Just, it's like I'm just exhausted last night.
Yeah, after it, she'd said that she felt exhausted.
Right, right. And now, what's it like now to be in your body?
It's 24 hours later, and I've rested all day. We've watched telly. We've just, we haven't done.
We've listened to session 24. We've listened to session 25. We've watched Arrival. We read chapter 6 out of the way of our street.
That's a huge amount of stuff. That doesn't quite sound like rest.
Oh, well, to me, that's rest.
Okay, and so after all this rest, do you feel comfortable in your body, or is it still wobbly?
There's a small amount of wobbliness.
Yeah.
Amount. I still can't run a marathon, but tomorrow I'll be back to myself.
That's your sense of it, that you're.
Yeah. Good night's sleep, and I'll be, but I don't want to take on all that old programming again, all that old conditioning and programming anymore.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen that I can be without it.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't want it anymore.
Right. So where is it? As you are, if you are now, even now, without all that drama.
Yeah.
Is there still an openness or a not knowing with you?
There's a trusting.
There's a what?
A trusting. Trust.
A trusting, but you're in a not knowing.
Well, I can't say now the judgments are starting to creep back in again, or the it's kind of
Yeah.
It's not as blank a slate as it was last night.
So if I understand what you're saying, is you gained something that now you can be without all of that.
Yeah.
And still be okay.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So are you trusting also that all of this is returning?
That I would.
Your old, perhaps not the old drama, but you're coming back into ordinary time and space. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you trust that part?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But as I said, Janet and I did A Course in Miracles, and it's like starting off doing the lessons all over again.
Yeah.
And it's just starting at the very, very beginning, but now with a deeper understanding of it, or deeper awareness that I'm actually really doing it, rather than just saying the words, or that I actually now can understand that this means nothing. That means, that
Right.
I can actually get that. It's just the importance is gone.
Right. The old values, the old importance.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how do you know that the old judgments are returning?
I can feel the old, there's a bit of old conditioning, you know, like I'm hungry or something, you know, and it's like, I like that type of ice cream, you know, that because I know that ice cream that I like, you know, literally. Literally. And so I know what I liked in the past, you know, so I know that.
Does it matter? I mean, you like that ice cream. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
So, you know, you do have a life story,
Yeah.
you know, and you even have a name and history. And some of those things are still here, or many of them. All the circumstances are still here.
Yeah.
But the question is how you view the circumstances, how you value it or relate to it, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't need to identify myself with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a mother or a whatever, you know, that isn't, you know.
Right. So you're in an interesting brand new place.
Yeah. I've let go of my attachments.
Yeah.
You know, I just
right. So even though you still like certain kinds of ice cream, you may have your preferences, but you may be less attached.
Yeah.
Whether you get them or not. But this seems like you're being given an opportunity to start again.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Habits are sticky old creatures, and we still hold on to them, I think, even after changing. But probably not again in the same way.
Yeah. I can try another ice cream. That's okay. You know, I can. You know, I don't need to have that in order to sustain me.
Yeah.
I don't have to hold on to that thing that I know, and only that thing. I can actually try something different. Or
well, the challenge is in relationships too, though. Ice cream might be easier than old relationships, or that'll be, you know, here you have a good friend in Janet, I assume. You seem like. How is, if you don't mind my asking, how is that in relating to her right now? Is that also
there's total trust there with myself and Donna, and I find myself letting go of my relationship with my sons, and that was the crux of everything that came up last night. That was the most important thing, that was letting go. My sons are in their 20s, and I was holding on to them like little boys, or like they were as little boys, and I just did not want to let go of that attachment that I had, and let them grow up and move on. I just find it so hard. And last night, and even today when I was doing that work, I was able to wave. I mean, I don't like doing it, to let them go. You know, I really don't like doing it, you know, but I've done it, you know, so and I just have to keep practicing it in my head, you know, to make sure that I actually do it, you know. I mean, I hate to think, oh God, I'll never see them again, and all that fear comes up for me. Yeah, I think that's most mothers of most, you know, children that, or they're not children, but their children, you know.
I think what actually the big one that came up last night was a belief of I'm a failure, and then to counteract that in life, she was an overachiever, and that when she hadn't realized that that's what was actually driving the bus, and when she saw that, she suddenly, that was like realized that anything in her life she hadn't that she actually hadn't realized anything in her life, because if this is what had been driving everything, and she hadn't realized that that's what it was, and she could let it go. So therefore there was, what would life be like without this belief that she didn't realize had been there? And so yeah, that kind of is how everything,
That was the process, but it really happened. You let everything go.
Yeah. But when I saw what was driving the bus, you know, I think I never had thought of myself as a failure, you know, or being consciously aware of myself, thinking that, but I'm going through a divorce at the moment. So it was like, oh my God, I failed as a mother, I failed as a wife, I failed. And it was like, I didn't see myself saying that to myself, but I was, you know, and whenever I worked through it, I was like, you know. And then today or when we were doing those exercises, or, you know, my thing today was just to wave my boys goodbye, you know. It's emotional, but
To wave what goodbye?
my sons goodbye. Yeah, my attachment to them being, but it was my attachment to them being, the picture of them being little boys, you know, and me holding on to that, you know, that's where I was stuck.
Yeah. It sounds like a wonderful experience that you've had, and to feel it, to just feel it. Are you part of John Mark's group with the spacious presence?
Yeah, she's a bit behind, but she is.
Okay, well, you have a friend that can coach you in that, to be in spacious presence and to be so honest with what you're feeling as you have been. And even as any old judgments come up, to just feel what it does to your system. Feel it in your body, if it constricts you or if it makes a change that's uncomfortable in your body, just to become aware of it and relax or rest more into softness of spacious presence will be helpful.
Yeah.
It will help not to slip into unconsciousness again. So, but it sounds like it's a wonderful, wonderful experience you've had. So thank you so much for sharing all of it.
Thank you.
And for all of us to see that we could come to that state where you're no longer attached to all your opinions and interpretations and judgments, that you are without them. You can be safe and without them, even though it was scary. It seemed like you trusted. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing to know. A really good thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rivka and Virginia. It felt to me like you got a lot of good harmony from Rivka. There was a harmony there that I felt between you. Okay, people, I guess it's time for us to think about departing for this time. Anybody have anything else they want to say?
I just want to say one more thing to Virginia and to everyone, that really all that we just did was simply to explore where you are. Nothing other than that, really, just to be with you and explore through some questions. So I just want to say, Sarah Jane, that that's really all that happened. I mean, that's a lot, I think, sometimes it's a lot just to have someone listen and ask and be there with you. So it's, you know, so
And I think that's what John Mark said the last time, was about celebrating just where we are,
yeah,
whether it's
right.
good or bad, or, you know.
Yeah, so I celebrate you. Okay, Sarah Jane. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Well, I celebrate certainly all of you, and am grateful that you came and shared who you are, and gave me the opportunity to share who I am. So if there are no further comments,
Thank you, Sarah Jane, Mariana. It's
thank
been a
you,
pleasure.
Bobby.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Sorry, James. Namaste and goodbye to you all.